This might help Jenson's cause. Two cars. Are they fighting? No, they're not fighting each other, but they'll be getting the flags to let the leader through. He does a 1:16.8. Jenson Button does a 1:15.8. The gap down to 4.1 seconds now. One of Jenson's better laps too, but Trulli already safely clear of one of the back markers. They've now lapped the entire field at least once, with the exception of Barrichello in third place, who's a full minute behind the leader. But again then, Trulli losing time in the slow section. No, he's not going to turn in front of you, for goodness sake.
That's Heidfeld in the Jordan, running in 7th place at the moment. Obviously didn't see the wave blue flags. Hopefully he's seen him now. He's still in front of Trulli, and Trulli's going to have to try and pass him in the tunnel. Well, we know what happens if you try that. He's got past him already. There's Jenson Button now, and Button has really closed the gap to the race leader thanks to this traffic. He's now got to get past the Toyota and the Jordan, and this isn't an easy part of the racetrack to do it. Get out of the way, he'll be screaming in his helmet.
Yeah, and he's got to keep a cool head. This is the moment. I've crashed in a Grand Prix before now, where you start, your focus goes on them and your anger instead of the piece of racetrack that you're on. Heidfeld appears to have been in everybody's way today, doesn't he, with the Jordan, and still he's trying to keep it on the racing line and still threaten to turn in on Jenson. But nonetheless, where's it going to shake out in terms of lap time? He still, I think, is going to have the gap down to a bit over 3 seconds. Where is it? 3.5 then. So he's moving in.
Yes, he gained 0.6 of a second. That's all he managed to get as a result of that. Flavio Briatore for making his feelings clear about the traffic. It's only 0.6, Flavio. Keep your hair on. Look at the intensity with which these two men are driving now. This is great stuff. That's the Minardi that Trulli has just passed. Here comes Button to pass it too. Baumgartner stays well out of the way. Button can almost smell the exhaust fumes coming out of the back of this Renault now. He's on a Mansell-esque charge.
Yeah, sensible driving there from the back marker. Button underway. Hey, listen, if a Ferrari's not going to win a Grand Prix this year, there's big stakes. You've got to be the one that does. You can't miss opportunities like this with Ferrari on such stellar form in 2004. And Flavio Briatore is very, very aware of that.
Very anxious to win another Grand Prix. His last victory, Hungary last year with Fernando Alonso. BAR never won a Grand Prix yet. This is their 89th Grand Prix start. One of the younger teams in Formula One. How dearly would they love to break their duck here.
Yes, both these drivers have been in the points at every Grand Prix, and with the well, Barrichello has 2 in third place, so the top 3, as the gap's now down to 2.2, the top 3 have been relentlessly reliable and consistent. But Trulli and Button then shaping up for a grand finale, 8 laps to go as he goes through Casino Square. But you know, when he gets there, what can he do about it? There is race leader then, down at the bottom of the hill, and that's an extra incentive for Jenson. A back marker coming up. It's Ralf Schumacher with his Aileen Williams.
This is fantastic stuff. 8 to go, and Jenson Button has just taken 1.2 seconds out of the lead of Jarno Trulli. There's some anxiety and anguish down in the Renault timing stand. Trulli has got past the Williams. Now Button's got to do the same thing. As Martin said, though, getting up behind the Renault is one thing, passing quite another, as we found out a few years ago with Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna here. Mansell forced to make a late pit stop, came out behind Senna and could not pass him. Those of you who followed Grand Prix racing that long will remember the efforts Mansell went to. He almost tried to go around over the top of him, as going around the side was absolutely impossible. Well, the atmosphere down at BAR must be electric. Ted's in there.
Unbelievably electric, James. High tension in here. I tell you why, because it's different to Imola when they finish second behind a Ferrari. They're quicker than Renault now. The car is quicker, and they just have to try and get past him, get close to him. As we heard Jock said, Jarno may make a mistake. Mechanics clench fists, punching at the TV screens.
Gap down to 1.7 seconds. Oh, how much did it cost Jenson when he got hooked up? He pitted very early, got into traffic at the very early stages of this Grand Prix, and it cost him dearly. But he's come back, and he's just kept working at it all afternoon. Now he's beginning to be able to read the sponsors' letters on the rear wing. of Jarno Trulli's Renault.
And the two garages side by side, the Renault garage and the BAR garage, they were finished one behind the other in last year's World Championship. That means they're next door neighbours at every Grand Prix this season. And this is Grand Prix racing at its absolute finest on a beautiful sunny day in Monte Carlo. An Englishman is chasing an Italian for their first Grand Prix victory. We look back then from the Renault to see where is the BAR Honda of Jenson Button. There he is, coming into Rascasse corner now.
Jenson's about a 10th up on this current lap in the first two sectors, but Jarno definitely has got such a strong car in the middle sector of this lap, and it's paid dividends this afternoon. The gap was 1.7, is now 1.6. There are 6 laps to go.
Further back, Rubens Barrichello a full minute behind the race leaders. An odd pit stop sequence for him here this afternoon. Montoya is 4th, Massa is in 5th place for Sauber. Another strong performance from him after his teammate Fisichella was eliminated in an accident, very nasty accident early on with David Coulthard, which flipped the Sauber upside down. Cristiano Di Matta looks set to get first points of the season for Toyota in 6th. Heidfeld has held a lot of people up here this afternoon. He's 2 laps down on the race leader in 7th, and Ralf Schumacher currently still in 8th place, 3 laps down on the race leader. But for the last 6 laps, there's only one place to watch. All the champagne glasses will have been put back on the table. Everyone will be sitting on the edge of their expensively lined leather seats on their yachts and watching this extraordinary drama unfolding on the streets of Monte Carlo as Jenson Button tries to haul in, quite effectively at the moment, you'd have to say, Jarno Trulli for the lead.
Oh, did he go wide down there? He could have recovered it if he did, but he's really pushing as hard as he can. He can't match him in the middle sector, but he's much quicker in the first and third sectors. Gap was 1.6, is now 1.4, 5 to go. Running out of time, Jenson. You're going to have to start pulling some 1 minute 15 laps if you're going to get right up there and frighten Jarno Trulli in any way. Trulli looking very composed up front, and his car handling absolutely beautifully.
He is looking very composed, isn't he, Jarno Trulli? It's been a tremendous performance, whatever happens from here on now. Taking pole yesterday with one of the finest laps he's ever driven in a Grand Prix car, leading almost all of this Grand Prix. And he knows that even if Button does get right up behind him, it's going to be mighty difficult for him to get past. He has an advantage in speed in the middle sector of the lap, which is from the Mirabeau through to the swimming pool complex. We saw Juan Montoya make a pass into the first corner early on in the Grand Prix. It is possible to pass into Saint-Devote. It's possible to pass at 1 or 2 places, but you need an awful lot of cooperation to pull it off.
And the problem is, even into Rascasse now, where I believe you could muscle your way through, it's filthy dirty off the line, where somebody blew up in an earlier race today. There's what I'm talking about, all the dust on the side of the track. So I really don't know where he'd do it. It'd have to be down at the hairpin on the other side of the circuit.
Well, this is definitely the shot in the arm Formula One needed. Michael Schumacher dominating the season so far. 5 Grand Prix victories from 5 Grand Prix, but he's not going to win here this afternoon. He's out of the Grand Prix. And one of these 2 men is Trulli, metronomic on his pace. He really has been super consistent. And banishing all criticisms, praying for the laps to just evaporate.
That's what you've got to remember, that the mechanics are just as competitive as the drivers. They have to have a different role at Grand Prix, and they need this just as much as... and this is the unusual thing about the new Monaco layout. If you saw our track guide for the qualifying show, is the team bosses are sort of up in a unit nowhere near the racetrack. It's slightly odd in terms of they don't look over into the pit lane or the exit end of the lap either. Very strange situation. That's why they're appearing to be indoors there. Button had slipped a 10 on the last lap. This is currently a 10th up, but that's all he can do. Is Ralf Schumacher becomes the 11th retirement of the race, putting Panis up into 8th, Baumgartner 9th with the Minardi. Both Toyotas in the points then. We only had 2 teams with 2 cars running. That is now down to 1 with Ralf Schumacher exiting the Grand Prix. 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Baumgartner 5 laps down on the race leaders. If anybody else pulls out of this Grand Prix in the Minardi, he will have a World Championship point. Look how close Jenson Button is now to the Renault of Jarno Trulli. He can almost read the sponsor's name on the rear wing. A grandstand finish in store here in Monte Carlo. Out of Mirabeau, down to Lowe's. having to wait for the man in front to hit the gas before you can hit the gas itself. Down to Portier. This is where Ayrton Senna threw it off back in 1988 when he had the race won.
It's almost as if Trulli's tightened up, you know. It's almost like he's now beginning to watch every little slide because he's losing a lot of time to Jenson, and he's just going to have to free himself up inside that racing car. And he's giving the barriers plenty of distance. Jenson's pushing the limits much harder than Trulli at the moment. Trulli with track position, but you sense he's tightening up with so few laps to go.
Well, in some ways, it's easier to be the hunted than the hunted, the hunter than the hunted. There's a bollard in the middle of the racetrack. Did you notice that on the exit of the swimming pool section? Doesn't seem to have bothered anybody. And look how close Button is now. They were 0.9. They are now 0.7, 0.2 of a second. It's too little to even talk about. It's all about racecraft now. It's all about pressure. It's all about psychology. It's all about keeping a cool head. The hard charger, Jenson Button, versus the nearly man, the man who wants to shed that reputation and become a star man for the first time in his career, Jarno Trulli.
That's the problem. I mean, the dirty air syndrome affects you less around here. This is more about mechanical grip than aerodynamic grip, but nonetheless, you can drive the widest Formula One car in the world very easily, especially with the track so dirty offline, as Fernando Alonso, amongst others, found out. Flavio's now beginning to relax, now beginning to think, hey, I think he can do it, because I think if Trulli was going to get flustered, it would have happened by now.
Plenty of face time this afternoon for Flavio Briatore, man who never backward in coming forward, always exuberant in his celebrations when his drivers won, particularly in the old days of Michael Schumacher. He's put this exciting pairing together of Alonso and Trulli, and now it's really starting to pay dividends for them. Alonso already a winner, Trulli just one lap away from becoming a winner. Jenson Button hasn't given up yet. Into Saint-Devot, 60 miles an hour then as they go up the hill. The famous hill, been in use here since the 1920s when a man called Anthony Nogues decided it would be a good idea to let Grand Prix cars loose on the streets of the world, this famous principality, tax haven for the rich and famous.
Back marker ahead, but I don't necessarily think it's going to come into play, but there is a back marker, and really Jenson's just fallen back now into Trulli's place. Indeed, the Minardi is there. Will he see them coming? He's going to be in the tunnel as they approach him, so it's still a critical moment for the two leaders as they head into the darkness and the wilderness of that tunnel. Where are they going to meet the Minardi? And it is after the exit.
The last lap of the Grand Prix, and Minardi's in the way of Jenson Button. Any chance he had of getting him is now gone, and Button signals to Minardi. It's not really his fault. It's very unfortunate where he caught him. I don't think Button could have done anything much, and that probably has handed the initiative to Jarno Trulli. The final part of the swimming pool, Button's throwing everything, caution to the wind now. He's not going to try a lunge down the Rascasse. He can't, he's too far away. Trulli comes out of Anthony Nogues. He's going to see the man with the checkered flag, and Jarno Trulli is going to win his first ever Formula One Grand Prix. There is the checkered flag, and in the end, Button was just 0.4 of a second behind him. Pat Simmons up on the timing stand there on the right-hand side of your screens, delighted for his man. He's has masterminded the race strategies for this team. BAR aren't unhappy today, but they did come close, didn't they? What a terrific Grand Prix.
Yeah, fantastic. We're still waiting for Barrichello to finish third at this time, and well-deserved for Jarno Trulli. Absolutely. He's taken a long time to really sharpen his game up, but he's been immense for the best part of 12 months now, and under a lot of pressure, he absolutely was faultless today, had it under control, set his car up beautifully, a brilliant pole position lap, and I'm really, really happy for the guy.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy for him as well. He's had so much bad luck. There's Rubens Barrichello in third place, going to finish 71 seconds behind the race winner.
Could be even more than that because he's just coasting now, but he's got to cross the line. He's the last man that's got to cross the line because he's the only one unlapped. So Rubens must remember not to go in the pit lane, not that anybody can pass him, but here he comes now. And Massa was just 0.3 off Massa. Massa takes fifth. This is one of the best podiums. I don't know why, it's a silly little box, but somehow or other it means more than just about any other podium in the world, with the possible exception of Le Mans.
Well, it's been a real shot in the arm for Formula One. A great Grand Prix, great spectacle. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. The champagne flies on the boulevard of Monte Carlo. Flavio Briatore getting involved as well. Tremendous race, Martin.
Yeah, I'm sure Jarno appreciated a bottle of champagne in his face there, but he's going to go and find his mechanics and thank those two.
Well, what a day. It was the day when Formula One's nearly man finally became a star.